That's my part right there. Come on, sing it again. Sing greater. Great and mighty. Come on, I need all the believers to sing this next part with me. Say this. Sing loving. Ooh, loving. I like that right there. This next part, sing it real pretty, y'all. Let's go. Come on, lift it up right there. Never changing.
Join the National Cleanup and Volunteer Drive. Let's restore our communities one street, one home, one heart at a time. Sign up at supportjamaica.gov.jm. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
It's now 5:30 p.m. and it's family time.
Good evening, and welcome to everyone on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live. This is Family Time, and Family Time is about your issues and your relationship. It's about your at-home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Family Life Ministries FLMJA. And on Instagram, keep up with what's happening at Simply FLMJA. While Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution that it may on odd occasions touch on what some may consider mature subject matters. So your discretion is advised. I'm Amanda James, and we're continuing our special series, which is the premarital counseling series, where we're exploring the issues couples should think about even before they walk into a formal premarital counseling session. This week, we're talking about another very important topic in this series, which is who does what, who cooks, who cleans. What happens when one's career take off? Should someone stay home with children? How do you divide responsibilities without keeping the score? So stay with us for that. But in the meantime, we'd like you to tell us, do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives? Or should every couple decide for themselves? And why? Send your answers via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. And you can also call our studio at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. Our conversations are about faith, family, and how we live out our beliefs with love. We'll be right back.
Jesus promised he would never leave us alone, and he kept that promise through the Holy Spirit. But why did the Holy Spirit come, and what role does he play in our lives today? Join Errol Bean and Apostle Grace Adegold for The Rock as they explore why did the Holy Ghost come. Discover the Holy Spirit as God's abiding presence who teaches, empowers, comforts, convicts, and equips believers for everyday life. Don't miss this enlightening biblical discussion on The Rock, Tuesday, July 7 at 10 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. And welcome to all our listeners. Remember to respond to our Vox Pop question. Please, we want to hear from you. And that question is, do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives? Or should every couple decide for themselves? And why? WhatsApp text and voice notes to 876-997-3125 and try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds. You can also call our studio at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and Love 101 FM YouTube. So saying I do is easy. Figuring out who does what takes conversation. Love may bring a couple together, but everyday life is what keeps them together. And together with one of our favorite guests, we have Pastor Christopher Broadbaugh. And we're going to unpack why having these conversations matter and how couples can approach them honestly before saying I do. He's a relationship counselor at counselorscoach.com and senior pastor at Hope Fellowship Church. Welcome back, Pastor Broadbaugh. How are you today?
Hello, Amanda. I am good. Thank you for having me on again. I love these topics you guys have. I believe in, love and romance. It is something we are privileged to experience. For those who have a relationship or have the privilege of having been in a relationship, it's a gift from God. It's a part of the spice of life that's available to those who don't have the gift of singleness. And so we want to make sure if you are blessed with that privilege of a honey, that it can work really well for you. So I'm happy with this topic again, that we get to delve into premarital stuff. So if our listeners are in a relationship, we can explain how you best prepare to make the most of the privileged opportunity that you have. So thanks for having me on.
Indeed. And I'm excited to unpack further. It's a pleasure having you on. So we know that when two people fall in love, it's easy to imagine the big moments, the proposal, the wedding, the honeymoon. But what about the everyday moments? Who pays the bills? Who remembers the birthdays? Who cooks when both of you get home tired? What happens when one person in the couple careers takes off or children enter the picture? And in the middle of all of that, sometimes two people fall in love while carrying two completely different blueprints for marriage, right? We know that. So we want to begin by exploring the expectations we bring into relationships and why talking about them before marriage can prevent disappointment later. So we want to delve in now, Pastor B. All right. We're going to be touching on the topic of family influence. And do you think that based on your counseling experience, do you find that there are many cases where this type of influence plays a more pivotal role in shaping one's view of marriage, whether the groom to be or the wife to be? We're talking about the family influence.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't marry somebody or get with someone who doesn't have a story. They have a history. They come from a context, and you have to appreciate that. She has a context, he has a context, he has a story, she has a story, and you need to figure it out, because the background story influences who they are today, whether for good or for bad, and you have to take that into consideration. You really do have to try to get to. I don't know how many of our listeners do delve into my column, The Counselor's Coach, but we've had scenarios where you can see coming out the impact of somebody's background shaping how they look at their relationship and how they handle their spouse. And sometimes it really is not good. And you need to assess that. Ask the relevant questions to figure out what the perspective is being borrowed from your family. If daddy always sat down and was served like a king, dinner every evening and breakfast every morning, guess what? Junior is going to be expecting basically to be served the same way. If mommy was always, she always got money to do her hair, her nails. Every weekend she get some money from daddy to go shopping, and that's just how it's done. then guess what? Then darling dear is going to expect that her hubby will be giving resources for her to do her hair, her nails, and be pampered. That's just life, right? We all come from a context. So yes, you do have to take that into consideration. Family background, um, yeah, the positives. What's the positive that you want to carry forward into your own relationship? If it's something workable or if it's a deal breaker. If it's a deal breaker that he expects to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner served to him, and for you to tuck him in at night, then you need to know. And if it's a deal breaker, you say, I'm starting over with another Joe, so to speak.
Okay, so based on your experience, you are confirming that family influence does play a vital role in marital expectations, and additionally, which pretty much would be under socialization, how you're socialized, how you're grown, how you're brought up, and how you think. Okay, that's true. I agree. So we want to also touch on gender expectations. What do you find to be some of the most popular male marital expectations? And what do you find to be some of the most popularly encountered female expectations of marriage? You can probably just touch on about two or three, two
Oh,
each,
well,
and we get
okay.
into our next break.
Let me see. The easiest one off the bat from men. When we men get married, we're expecting to have all the sexual intimacy that, we have been imagining from we were 12 years old, 13 years old, 14, 15, coming into, right? So men marry thinking all their sexual desires will be met absolutely, completely, and forever. Amen. Also, they are expecting to have, if this is number two, they'd expect to have somebody that works with them, supports them, meaning works with their program, whatever they're up to. And they have good support from her throughout life, for better or worse, richer or poorer, sickness and in health. They're really expecting that pretty much. For women, the expectation is romance, and that she will be honored above every other woman. The expectation is that she will be safe emotionally, safe financially, safe physically. They're saying I do, or they will say I do on the basis of expecting to be safe with you. So your arms must be safe. Your hands must never be a threat to her. Your voice should be comforting and not harshly criticizing and shouting and abusing her verbally. She's not expecting that. She's saying I do to you, or she will. She's considering saying I do to you on the basis that she's going to be secure with you. She's only staying with you today because she thinks you are going to be safe. And he's only staying with you today because he thinks you are going to be a good support to what he wants to do in life.
Indeed. So that's solid. Those are some solid points, Pastor Broadwell. You hit the nail on the head with that. So before we run into our next break, if in a nutshell, can you give like at least the top two flawed assumptions soon to be married couples tend to have about what marriage should look like? So we're talking about the flaws now, at least two, because we're heading into a break shortly.
That love is enough. One of the flawed assumptions, and love based on the easy definition, that they think love is enough. Love isn't generally enough. I mean, love God's way, God's type of love. Yes, it is. It comes with everything. But our typical understanding of love and romance, that, okay, the fact that we have butterflies in our bellies, this will carry us through life. It doesn't. You have to have some hard conversations. You have to have some good plans. You have to have a realistic understanding of who she is and what she is, and who he is and what he is. Yeah, meaning he's a man. He's a man. She's a woman. You're marrying a man and he doesn't think like a woman. You're marrying a woman and she doesn't think like a man. And she deals with stress differently from you. So you have to prepare for that. Understand that she doesn't deal with stress. She needs to talk. She needs conversation. That's how she deals with stress. He needs Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
On the
we're
other side.
heading into our break shortly. So we want to hear from you. Remember, do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives, or should every couple decide for themselves, and why? We're looking forward to hearing from you. Please remember to send us a WhatsApp, text, or voice note to 876-997-3125. Remember, we need the voice notes to be no longer than 30 seconds, or you can call our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. And just to let you know, the numbers for the FLM head office in Kingston are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. Now that we have looked at where those expectations come from, let's move into the big question: who does what? We continue after the break. Stay tuned.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 5:45.
Jamaica Central Bank digital currency is now here. Jamdex, no cash, no problem. Step into a future of ease, convenience, and security. Conduct business with your mobile device instantly and without fees. This is how life should be with Jamdex. You catch it free. Jamdex are the real free. Use it to buy your stove or TV. You can buy your shoes or 3-piece. Get the Central Bank digital currency. No cash, no problem. Jamdex, backed by the Bank of Jamaica.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home when the quality high and the price low, get it on Habasco. Get it on Habasco. Habasco. Be everything where you need. Bash quality service guaranteed and Habasco. Habasco that gives you more. Yeah, Habasco. Get furniture for your house, there's linen, everything for your kitchen, rug, mugs, and more at Habasco. The store that gives you more. Habasco.
New Testament Church of God, celebrating 50 years of God's faithfulness, presents the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch worship experience. One night, one glorious worship encounter. Sunday, July 19 at 6 p.m. Victory Tabernacle, Bayside, Portmore. Gates open 5 p.m. Tickets pre-sold $3,500, VIP $7,000, pay-per-view $2,500 on SpurOpen.com or $4,500 at the gate. Children 12 and under, $1,200 at the gate. Tickets available at the Portmore New Testament Church office, Hope Line Pharmacy, Edgewater Medical, and Truly Me Weddings. Portmore New Testament Church of God Jubilee at the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch. There will be surprises.
Welcome back to all our listeners, and here's today's Vox Pop question. Do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives, or should every couple decide for themselves, and why? Remember, we want to hear from you. Please give us a call, send us a text, leave a message. Our topic this week is who does what? And when people hear the word roles, they often think about tradition, what husbands are supposed to do and what wives are supposed to do. But perhaps the most important conversation isn't about titles. It's about responsibilities. Every home needs someone to manage the bills, prepare meals, maintain the house, care for children, and carry the countless invisible tasks that keep a family functioning. How do healthy couples divide those responsibilities in ways that feel fair rather than frustrating? Let's unpack that. But before we continue the discussion, let's hear some of the responses to our Vox Pop question. So we have it here. Marvet says, not everything works for everyone. So like many other things, it's not a one size fits all. Couples should decide what works for them and for their relationship. Dion says, every household should work out their own rhythms. However, men should seek after the safety of the home, not unilaterally, but he should lead in this area. Also, the heavy lifting, that is more the rigorous tasks. Those are more his domain. Men need help too, or else why was Eve created a helper? So we have some responses there, and we'll share more as we continue. So Pastor Broadbow, welcome back. We continue to delve.
Sure.
So in terms of responsibilities, now we're talking about household duties, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that our Jamaican culture has set the standard for this? Or would you say the playing field is leveled between the genders? Who carries out the trash? Who does the laundry? Who mows the lawn? Can you just share your take on that?
No, well, it varies, as was said by one of the persons who wrote in a response. It depends on the dynamic of the couple and their context. If he's not working at the time, if they get married and he's not working, he's at home, then he should have no problem with cooking, cleaning, caring for the kids. That's, especially a Christian. Christian men have to be, we can't be led by ego and false pride and all of these things. We have to be realistic, and love our wives like Christ loves the church. So that is easy. Now, if she's not working and he's out working, then the same is true. She should be fine with the cooking and the cleaning and the caring for the kids. Now, what obtains basically, it's in our Jamaican model, is predominantly that both are working external to the home. So in that case, the truth has to be that both take care of the house, both do the cooking and the cleaning and take care of the kids. So as breadwinning is shared, so maintaining the house has to be shared. That's not rocket science, that's common sense. And it's a good Christian look at, a good Christian perspective of managing the home. God does not say women have to cook. The Bible does not teach women must clean. That is not biblical. As we see how God endows certain individuals, there's some men who cook much better than their wives. Some men, I know several men who are absolutely great chefs, and the wives struggle. What happens in that context? He will cook. There are also men who can clean better than their wives. They're better at setting up a house and maintaining a house. And the good thing is that some are happy to do it. And it can create a challenge if a woman is very traditional and then her husband has this ability to cook and clean and so on and set up the house, and he wants to. But then we have to make sure that we remain humble and understand the dynamic and don't start saying, oh, what kind of man may have, right?
Okay. Okay. Some solid points coming across, Pastor Bradbar. So I summarize what you have said to say that you're pretty much outlining that at the end of the day, serve one another, right? Instead of being caught up with what is a wife's duty versus what is a husband's duty. And it's as you touched on that, we have one of the responses here from Riken who says, there's no set list. Use your strengths and the gifts to serve one another.
Right.
So others have the same view.
There are some, let's be real though, there are some innate things. We have to factor in nature just as we factor in nurture. We understand culture, but we understand how we are created. So there are, we have said the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So whether he is a chef or not, whether can cook better than his wife or not, there is a blessing that he finds when his woman prepares something for him.
That's true. That's true. I agree.
Yeah, she becomes, because a man naturally is looking to feel care from his woman, and a woman is naturally looking to feel a covering from her man. So what does that look like? There still is some, you have to figure out what is natural inclination. Just like it may not be a natural inclination for her to cut the grass or go under the car and service it. That may not be it's a reality that's not a natural inclination for most women. I have a book that's going to be published soon called Men Are From Mud, Women Are From Bone, that deals with how we are created. Men tend to handle the dirty jobs, while women lean toward the sterile things. It's how we created. So she's not inclined to go in the car engine. He may not be inclined to scrub the tub. He may not be inclined to hang the pictures or change the curtains or choose the curtains. But he may do it if he has to, but he may not be naturally inclined to.
Yeah, that's true. I understand. So I agree. I agree. So of course we know a lot is happening around us locally and globally concerning mental health and men's mental health. And we see a lot of issues arising surrounding that and negative occurrences and also overall we're seeing a rise in domestic disputes, sadly. And that may be connected to mental load and emotional labor. So, in touching on those two sub points, would you say that women or wives carry more of the emotional load since they are innately nurturers of the home? And would you say that men carry more of the mental load since they are the head of the marriage or head of the household? What's your take on the emotional nurturing side versus the mental side, the more of the thinking and the reading
I
and
think
things like that?
they overlap. I don't know. You can separate this psychological dynamic from the emotional dynamic. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So the psychological realities impact how you feel. It's one and the same. It's the same soul, same spirit. What statistics shows us is that men by far commit suicide more, go to prison more, are addicted to substances more, are homeless more. And why? Because the truth is that they are carrying a lot of psychological and emotional pressures that are not addressed easily. The advantage for women is that they handle stress better generally. They get stress relief from talking. A woman, if she can find a good,
That's true.
she can find a good girlfriend. She can talk with her. She goes to the salon, and the salon becomes a place of expression and venting. You can imagine some of the conversations. Or she sits in the lunchroom and talks with her friends, and that is a venting for her, and it helps her to handle the emotional burdens, the psychological burdens, oftentimes. But for men, they don't have the out, they don't have the vent as easily as some women, and they walk around under a lot of pressure, emotional and psychological pressure, and so they break. And you commit crimes. They break, and they're at the bar or they're smoking something they shouldn't. They're on something they shouldn't be, or they go on the bridge and jump off. May the Lord help us. So we do need quick interventions for men's health, mental health, because there's a lot of programs that's there for women's mental health, and they naturally can get help from community and even in churches. Churches tend to facilitate discussions and so on. When men tend not to talk easily, how men deal with stress is that we do a sport, or we may play a video game or something like that, and then that offends the family. Why is he playing a video game? Why is he always going out there to do such and such? But that's how men vent. They clam up and they go and do something to ease the pressure. Playing the Gran Turismo or whatever the game is a stress relief for them.
Right. Some solid points again, Pastor Rodbud. You always bring them out, and we're heading into our next break. So this is Family Time live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our social media interaction, we want you to tell us, do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives, or should every couple decide for themselves, and why? Let us know via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes at 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds, and you can also call our studio at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can also watch us and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. We want to hear from you. After the break, responsibilities don't exist in a vacuum. Careers, promotions, business, travel, and financial pressures all influence how couples share the load. Let's talk about what happens when marriage and career ambitions meet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 6 o'clock. Last year, over 15,000 gathered for an unforgettable moment with CC Winans. This year, Come Alive Collective presents Come Alive, a national call to worship featuring Michael W. Smith, Papa San, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. Saturday, August 1, King's House East Lawn. Gates open 2 p.m. Get your tickets now at Fontana Pharmacy or TouchstoneLink.com. Come Alive, Jamaica. This is your moment.
New Testament Church of God, celebrating 50 years of God's faithfulness, presents the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch worship experience. One night, one glorious worship encounter. Sunday, July 19 at 6 p.m. Victory Tabernacle, Bayside, Portmore. Gates open 5 p.m. Tickets pre-sold 3,500, VIP 7,000, pay-per-view 2,500 on SpurOpen.com or 4,500 at the gate. Children 12 and under, $1,200 at the gate. Tickets available at the Portmore New Testament Church office, Hopeline Pharmacy, Edgewater Medical, and Truly Me Weddings. Portmore New Testament Church of God Jubilee at the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch. There will be surprises.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You're tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, and Family Time is brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Let's get a word from Rev Mike in this episode of Word to Flesh Moments with Rev Mike.
Galatians 6:2-5 advises, carry each other's burdens, and so obey our Lord's command. If anyone thinks they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Dave Willis, an American speaker, famously said, marriage is not 50-50. Divorce is 50-50. Marriage has to be 100-100. Our scripture today is usually used in the discipline and restoration of believers. However, I believe it is extremely appropriate for those considering marriage or those who are already married. It has three main thoughts that are powerfully helpful. Number one, bear your own burden and don't compare yourself to what your partner is doing. Number two, don't think so highly of yourself that you think doing something for your spouse may be beneath you. Number three, don't allow your burdens to be an unnecessary burden in your marriage. Let's follow the word of God for marital success. I am Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
Thanks, Rev Mike, for sharing with us. And let's continue the exploration of our topic with Pastor Christopher Broadbell, relationship counselor at counselorscoach.com and senior pastor at Hope Fellowship Church. So we know that today's couples are making decisions that previous generations didn't always have to make. And many homes depend on two incomes, and both partners may be pursuing demanding careers. Sometimes one person's dream creates sacrifices for the other. So, how do couples support each other's ambitions without neglecting the relationship itself? Is there such a thing as balance, or is marriage simply about adjusting together through different seasons? We have some more responses to our Vox Pop question before we delve deeper into that prelude there. So we have Donald. Donald says, we should not make any rules which goes beyond the general biblical guidelines, where husbands are the heads of families and wives provide submissive support as they work together as one unit. Husbands are to demonstrate sacrificial love and to provide emotional and financial security or protection for their wives. But together, everything is joint ownership, including their own bodies. Everything else, including specific domestic responsibilities, should be mutually decided by the individuals themselves, not simply following cultural traditions and expectations. And these discussions and agreements should take place before marriage takes place, not after. So that's from Donald.
Well,
So we want to go deeper, Pastor Broadbell, in terms of the topic of careers and ambition. So if we're talking about promotions, right? Career promotions.
Mhm.
Do you find that climbing the success ladder has been negatively impacting how couples connect and bond? And would you say couples are too busy now in this era, in this time, in this generation?
Yes,
I'd
there,
love to
there
hear
is.
your views on that.
Yeah, there's a threat. There is a real threat to family and romance from the present work dynamic of both being in corporate or both out there being breadwinners. There is a threat, and we're seeing it. Specifically to the Jamaican context, where 60% of the, about 60%, it was said from the studies, 60% of the top jobs are held by women. And there is a fallout because of that. If she's earning more than him and she's at the top and he is, still on the line staff and she's the senior manager, how do they relate to each other when they get home? What's the respect level? Who is ultimately feeling like they wear the pants? So we do have to find a way to strike the balance and understand what keeps love alive, even with the realities of our present time. And some of the basics, we just have to go back to basics, where we're respecting each other, we're trying to be creative together, and nobody is exerting any lordship over any because of the bank account size of either. We understand that everything we own belongs to us. It's not, what he has is ours and what I have is mine. Everything belongs to us. That has to be defended. It doesn't matter who is bringing in the big bucks. Men have to think like that too, because it can change quickly. It has happened before. He has the big bucks when they just met, but later on, because women are being educated much faster than men and retooling and re-equipping and relearning faster than men, so she can fly past him easily, then what happens? I also like to warn couples, as you're thinking about marriage, remember the risk of the work world to both of you, generally, not just by virtue of the income. It's the exposure that you are 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week around strangers, you're not around your spouse. And when you get home, your tired self is then around your spouse. But when you're fresh and at your best, your fresh self is around strangers. You have to plan to mitigate the risks that are innate in that kind of reality when both of you are going out into the world.
Right. That's true. That's true. A lot has really changed, Pastor Broadbell, in terms of the previous generations and what's happening now in terms of gender roles and earning. So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be intentional about ensuring that we show up for our marriages and our partners
Mm-hmm.
and give our
Yeah.
best. Give our best.
You've said it. You said it absolutely right. And I need to just repeat what you've said. We have to be intentional about showing up for our partners, our spouse. That needs to be said, circled, highlighted, put asterisks beside it. We have to be intentional about showing up for our spouse.
Thank you. So as it relates to parenting, which is another big deal, is it 50-50? Or is it 100 for each parent? Would you say that both parenting roles have the same value?
It's
Whether
different
the
value.
mother to the children or father to the children?
Both have an imperative role, and we know from statistics and from all the studies that both have a very important role in making a healthy child. It is said a child that grows in a single parent house is more likely to get ill, to not do as well with schoolwork, and to end up in prison or in the hospital. That is just what the studies have proven. We did a documentary on that called Dear Dad, and we found we found information, good information as relates to the Jamaican context, that it's true here too. Children need both parents. Daddy tends to provide some discipline and structure. When daddy says, come off of the chair, he tends to come off faster. When mommy says, sweetheart, come off the chair. No, mommy, no, you don't see her playing with the flower. That's just a reality. It tends to happen. Remember one situation where a mother is trying to discipline her son, and she could slap him on his butt. I mean, criticize that if you will, but that's how she used to do it. Slap him on his butt, and he would listen until he became like 12, 13, where when she slapped him on his butt, her hand hurt and he's fine because now he's bigger and stronger and she can't discipline him easily. This is where daddy now matters. When your father come home, I'm going to tell him, and it impacts the child. They start to listen. So it's very important, both roles, the loving, nurturing side of mommy and the discipline, strength, rough, strong side that comes from daddy. Both are critical, and the science says it. It says it.
That's true. That's true. That's why God made Adam and Eve, right?
That's right.
Both
That's
have
right.
a role to play. Both have a role to play in
Absolutely.
parenting.
Absolutely.
So in terms of money, we know that finances play a big role. And I've, heard of it before that the finances even may be a greater contributor to financial issues or financial differences or views, and it can even lead to one of the biggest reasons for divorces globally. So since money is a very delicate topic, and we know that there's a lot happening in the gender space right now where some men say women are crying out for equality, while some women say men have shifted from their original role of provider. What's your take based on that concerning? And this is now probably a trick question I'm putting towards you. I hope you're ready for it. Do you think, Pastor Broadway, that expenses should be split evenly, even if one earns more? Or should the man just play the role as the main provider no matter what? What's your take?
Again, it has to, you have to look at the particular couple and what makes them happy together. That's the essential thing. If it is that the traditional role can be filled and they're fine with that, where the man is the provider and whatever she gets to keep, and since he's a big breadwinner, he can cover everything and they live happily ever after, so be it. But in the context of the majority, the average individuals, the model that might make sense is that we pool everything into one place and we pay all the bills from that one account, and we both get allowances from the account. I think that's the model that typically works for the average persons. We pool together all our income. Doesn't matter what you get, what I get, we pool it together and we make sure we're budgeting and planning, and we pay the bills from that one pooled account, And we also channel some out to our individual accounts as allowances. So I can still buy the birthday gift for her. She can still buy the birthday gift for me, but we are fine. And it's always good to have one CEO and one CFO. If one person is better at managing the money, let them manage the money.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Prodpa. So we're heading into our final break. This is Family Time Live on Love 101 FM, YouTube, and Facebook, and it's produced by Family Life Ministries. For our feedback, do you think there should be a set list of responsibilities for husbands and wives, or should every couple decide for themselves, and why? Send your answers via WhatsApp text and WhatsApp voice notes to 876-997-3125. Try to keep those voice notes to no longer than 30 seconds, or you can call our studio at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. You can watch us also and comment live on Love 101 FM Facebook and Love 101 FM YouTube. Our final segment brings us to something many people never talk about, which is the responsibilities you can't actually see. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 6:15.
Portmore New Testament Church of God, celebrating 50 years of God's faithfulness, presents the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch worship experience. One night, one glorious worship encounter. Sunday, July 19 at 6 p.m. Victory Tabernacle, Bayside, Portmore. Gates open 5 p.m. Tickets pre-sold 3,500, VIP 7,000, pay-per-view 2,500 on SpurOpen.com or 4,500 at the gate. Children 12 and under, $1,200 at the gate. Tickets available at the Portmore New Testament Church office, Hope Line Pharmacy, Edgewater Medical, and Truly Me Weddings. Portmore New Testament Church of God Jubilee at the Kevin Downswell pre-album launch. There will be surprises.
Last year, over 15,000 gathered for an unforgettable moment with CC Winans. This year, Come Alive Collective presents Come Alive, a national call to worship featuring Michael W. Smith, Papa San, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. Saturday, August 1, King's House East Lawn. Gates open 2 p.m. Get your tickets now at Fontana Pharmacy or TouchstoneLink.com. Come Alive, Jamaica! This is your moment.
Welcome back. You're tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Family Life Ministries provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. And remember, you can tune into the program via Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome back to our premarital counseling series discussion on who does what. There are jobs around the home that don't come with a checklist. Remembering appointments, planning birthdays, keeping track of school activities, knowing when groceries are running low, checking in on elderly parents. This is often called the mental load, and many couples don't recognize it until one partner feels exhausted and unappreciated. Do emotional and mental responsibilities deserve just as much attention as physical chores? We have more responses to our question. So here we go. We have Sherlyn, who says each couple can decide and play to their natural strengths and gender strengths. We also have Hilton, who says just be willing. No choice of who does what, but who can and will. We also have Jacqueline Jackson, who says, good afternoon to you and your guests. I think everyone should have their own idea because they have their own opinions. So we have some varied responses here. And welcome back, Pastor Bradbaugh. So we want to go deeper in the topic here as we are wrapping up pretty much. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of the invisible work, practical advice. We know that conflicts in marriage is inevitable. And it is also popularly said that conflicts are healthy. You know, both of you won't think the same way. You have your own input, you have your own opinions, and so on. Yes. So in terms of conflict prevention, can selfishness as it relates to support, can that cause damage in relationship or marriage? How can we prevent task-related conflicts?
Well, Amos 3:3 is what I tend to recommend, prior to your marriage. Try to get on the same page. Amos 3:3 asks the question, can two walk together without agreement being there? Amos chapter 3, verse 3, right? For couples, I always recommend it. Find synergy as best as you can. Understand what his perspective on things, as wide as you can, as wide as you can think of it, you pursue it and talk about it. Babies, what his perspective is, parenting, money, sexual intimacy, work, ministry, all of that. Talk about it, because when you find differences is where the challenges come in and cause conflicts, right? When there's a difference of understanding on a thing. So you want to try to get to find if there are any deal breakers, if there's any area where he will not or she will not be willing to find compromise with you on a thing. And you want to settle those things early before you say I do. You don't want to say I do and then here he does not want any children, and don't talk to him about it, and you want children or she doesn't want any children. It's kind of late for that now. So the key is compromise, having agreements, being able to communicate to come to a place of compromise. I think that's the imperative for every couple. Be able to chat it out, discuss it, and respect each other and come to a good compromise. And keep you out of conflict.
Okay. So in terms of conflicts, again, I have another question, Pastor Bradford. When is it too early, or when is the right time to go to get additional counseling if you're already married and you see conflicts coming up? How do you know when it's really time to get counseling, or it's time to probably step back, give it more time after conversation?
It's always time, before, between, and after the I do's. Make sure you're going for your premarital counseling. I can't overemphasize that, because there are questions you're not going to ask each other, because you're in the fog of love. We tend to say fog of war, the fog of love, meaning love has blinded you. So you're not going to answer hard questions. Go to counseling before you get married. Let the counselor, the premarital counselor, ask you the difficult questions. Do the questionnaires, the difficult questions, about, contraceptives, spending, budgeting, debt, who carrying what debt. Have those difficult things. Then after you're married, do your checkup. Go in with your counselor, because you still go to the doctor, right? You should still be wise enough to go to a doctor. You don't have to wait till your foot dropping off before you go to the doctor. You go in every year, you get your checks. Men do their prostates after a certain time, prostate checks. Women get their pap smears and so on done, just as a routine. In the same way, go into a counselor, just have a chat. There may be things that have been swept under the carpet by him or her, and it needs venting. Right. So don't wait for the big conflict. Go in regularly. And if there's a big conflict, certainly feel free. Find a good counselor. Family Life Ministries provides counselors. The Counselors Couch provides counselors. Find a counselor, sit down with them, and open up your heart, open up your realities, and get help.
But I agree. And we also have to be realistic about some of the things that we observe, right? So we know that we love our men, right? And we love the men of Jamaica, and we're not, we don't pick on the men, please. But we understand that a lot of times, sometimes it's the men who are more hesitant about going to counseling. They may feel like, I don't need to share this with another man. I can manage my own home, or I don't need to talk to him. Let me deal with it. Let me process it. How do you think that the church, or even governmental institutions promoting mental health, can really reach the men in understanding that you're not weak if you go to a counselor? It's okay to get personal help or even relationship help. How do you think we can approach that from a church perspective or governmental?
It is, just a gender issue. Men similarly don't go to the doctor as often as women. You know, if your foot can be broke and you still just say, no, man, it's just a scratch. I'll deal with it. That's how men we are. Whether it's nature or nurture, that's how men are. How can the church deal with it? You have to create programs that meet men where they are. External programs, projects to do that bring men together so that they can get help while they're playing the football, while they're building the building, while they're doing the thing. Men don't just get together just to chit chat. Typically, they might start there, but they have to find something to do. So, and most churches don't have enough projects or programs for men to do something. I can tell you that, right? Having been in church for over 30 years, we don't tend to create enough projects, and that's what men need. So whether government or church, we have to find ways to bring men together so that they can get the help they need while they're doing what they need to do together, building a building, playing dominoes, playing football, or whatever.
So we do have some homework to do from a governmental perspective and from a church perspective. So all the leaders listening in, or if you have a friend who is a leader in both either church or in the government, please, let's get programs in for the men. And men, please, you're not weak if you get counseling. Okay, it's like talking to someone confidential and getting clarity. Sometimes you just need to offload. So as we're winding down, just one more quick takeaway that I would like you to give us, cover that in a minute if you can, Pastor Broadbent. What do you give us some like 2 quick tips as women in terms of what's the best way we can communicate with the men in our lives who may need support when they feel overwhelmed while still maintaining respect? What are some of the tips you can give us?
However did Eve get Adam to eat the fruit? How is that possible, remotely possible, that Eve could get Adam, who knew God, to go the way of eating the fruit? Well, she may have used her feminine charm. She may have, batted her eyes, or, the fruit dropped and she had to, however, reach for it and he got excited. We don't know. But what we do know is that he did eat the fruit. Women can use their feminine charm. Don't neglect your ability to say, honey, sweetheart, and baby mom. You will get the world from him. Believe you me. He will cut the grass with a pair of scissors once you promise him what he likes, food or fellowship, right? Quote unquote. Use your feminine charm and use that soft voice. The challenge with a lot of our women, he thinks you're attacking him. You're being way too aggressive with expressing where you find him falling down. The Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath. Use a soft answer and you'll get a whole heap of good from him. You'll be surprised it's the same man. Be soft, be systematic, be creative, and use your feminine charm, and you'll get everything you need, guaranteed.
Thank you, Pastor Broadbent. And of course, do you agree that it's also important to just pay attention to details? If we see a shift in his mood, personality, normal routines, pay attention to that. Don't neglect it. He may need some attention. So I guess you agree with that too, right? I need your approval, Pastor Broadbent.
Yes, certainly. Let me just remind everybody, your relationship is a gift you have. And it's just as if you found a bar of gold. You're walking in the field and find a huge bar of gold. And you say, this is genuine gold. You're going to protect it. You're going to be wise with it. You're going to put it in a vault. You're going to treat it like a treasure that it really is, right? In the same way, you have to plan for your relationship like that. It is a treasure that you have gained. Treat it like a treasure.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, Pastor Broadbent, and thank you to our listeners for being here with us. We hope today's conversation helps in shaping you and your homes. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, we implore you to make contact with us. For more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101 or 579-8690 and 876-279-8678. The last two numbers are also WhatsApp enabled. Note that for appointments and information on costs, you must call the office. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA, and on Instagram at simply FLMJA. And before we leave you, here is our verse for this evening. By the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith God has given you. And that's taken from Romans 12, verse 3. Thanks to our special guest, Pastor Christopher Broadbaugh, show producer Kathy Gale, and Derval Graham for piloting us through this hour. And of course, you, our listeners, we appreciate you. I'm Amanda James, and do have a blessed rest of the week.
You're tuned to Family